What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today when I talk to you about SoFi, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really happened today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, round of applause for SoFi because it closed at $7, up 1.3%. And in case you guys don't know options, if a stock closes at that strike price or above, it is essentially in the money. So that should make for a very interesting Monday. I'm going to talk about what that means and everything that you need to know. But today there was kind of low volume, 24.3 million shares being traded, 42.4 is the average. No actual news from SoFi whatsoever, no SEC filings. There was a 144 that came out yesterday after hours. Nothing really crazy if you ask me. Did show this officer right here sold around 32,000 shares, and it did occur on the 15th. Again, nothing really crazy. SoFi's officers generally always sell for whatever reason, so it's nothing kind of to be shocked over. So that's just my own opinion, of course. Today though, you didn't see that much institutions buying. Rather, you did see a lot of selling happening. So what really did happen is algorithmic trading kind of countered that, and you can tell that based on the intraday, a lot of this barcoding. So AI was kind of driving a lot of growth stocks higher because a lot of analysts have started to warm up to the idea that we might be ready for the next leg up higher, because even though a lot of good data that's been coming out has been generally positive, subtract today's permits and starts, that did insinuate that we're pretty much going to get a 25 basis point cut for the September 18th meeting. As you can kind of see right now, it does show a 72.5% likelihood, and all this good data has just been diminishing that likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. But in reality, nothing really crazy, because you do see for the November 7th, it already pricing in possibly another 25 basis point cut, if not a 50, or better yet, a small likelihood, a 5.7% likelihood of a following 75 basis point cut. So that would be pretty kick-ass if you ask me, just between those two meetings. So I think the optimism is starting to rush back into the broader market, and that's why you did see SoFi closing at that $7 mark, because AI is just very, very powerful. A lot of people don't really kind of underestimate it sometimes, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what does come, whether these actual cuts do happen or not. But shorts for the most part did return some shares, so net amount around 30,000 shares, but they did increase around 200,000 shares near the tail end of the day. So they were trying to counter this. This is why you saw a lot of volume right here. So very active stuff. Again, it is considered a win in my opinion for SoFi, and should make for a very interesting Monday. But today, utilization 56.37 short scores. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. 72.74, 17.38% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 181.9 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of borrow average kind of in line with yesterday, 0.96%. And then you do see that cost of borrow minimum. So another broker, which we don't necessarily know who, but there is a broker out there physically paying people to short SoFi. So they're trying to drum up business, but in my opinion, I think they're about to get really fucked, pardon my French, because if the market does really price in multiple back-to-back kind of rate cuts, then a lot of stocks that would benefit from rate cuts, such as SoFi and a lot of other growth stocks, are going to get really moved up to the next level. And so this is where, once again, you could really, in theory, see the $8 range sooner rather than later. But I think the moral of the story for today is options. And so when it comes down to options, a lot of money was getting into it today, SoFi I mean, but 4.42 million in calls, 1.07 million in puts. 49% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish. But right now, this is the open interest for this chain for the August 16th, which was a very active chain because it was a monthly one. But this is where you see 60,000 at that $7 strike price. Even lower than that, 10,000 at that 650, 6,000 at that 6, and then 2,000 at that 5. Most likely the $5 ones were already covered long ago, only because I think it was fair, like the writing was on the wall for a while now that SoFi was going to close above $5. But what this does mean is this and below is going to be considered in the money. So market makers will have to cover that because they don't have a lot of inventory of very volatile stocks such as SoFi. And so this is why you usually do see a nice bump up on Monday. So just at that $7 strike price, that does mean that is 6 million shares. Another 1 million at that 650, and then 600,000 at that $6 strike price. So a lot of buying is going to be happening. And as I've mentioned in the past, a lot of people have asked me, how do I know it does occur during the trading day and not during pre-market or even after hours? And that is only because of, imagine if you're trying to buy 6 million shares of SoFi. That is going to cause the stock price to go up dramatically because after hours pre-market, usually low volume, wild west. So if you did legitimately buy 6 million, or you wanted to buy 6 million shares, you'd cause the stock price to go up probably a good 20% in all fairness. So when it comes to it, it's a lot more advantageous just to do it in the first couple of minutes of the market open. So this is why you see a nice bump up in the price. Whether that sticks or not, usually no, but still beside the point, it's kind of nice big FU to market makers. So again, that's something to anticipate going forward in Monday. So I'll do a video over this weekend on some expectations for this upcoming week. And for those of you that remember my weekend video about this week's expectations that just passed, I did say that SoFi was going to pretty much close at $7, and lo and behold, here we are. Actually, to be fully fair, I did say that most likely it was going to close between 6.97 and 7, so kind of within those 2 cents. So I think this is a little bit 1 cent better than I anticipated, but still, whatever, it is what it is. With it closing at $7, it is now trading between this R2 and this R3. So it was able to get above this very heavy resistance of this R2, as well as that options linked to that $7 strike price. So going into next week, 726 will be that next strong target / resistance, and just need to watch for this R2 to hold, which in my opinion, assuming the momentum from this week carries forward, I don't think that should be a problem, but we'll just have to wait and see. As well, today was day number 1. And so in order for you to confirm a trend, you need 2 consecutive trading days. So today it was able to fully clear that 50-day moving average. And we already do know what happens in the past when it comes down to SoFi staying above that 50-day moving average. Typically it does result in like a 30% run. So in general, Monday also will be a very key day because it most likely will test that 100-day moving average. But yeah, I think in general, the technicals are going to look fairly good. Shorts are going to, in my opinion, admit somewhat defeat and start closing out their positions and probably reducing it down to around 15%. And options wise, I think that has been very hot for SoFi. So going into next week, you don't really see that much in walls. To have a little bit at that $7, but aside from that, it's kind of free and clear. So SoFi, if it hits very strong, it can really move up fast. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. There was no new analyst ratings, nothing along those lines to really talk on. So it's just been kind of the macro levels on the broader market. And in SoFi's case, kind of these points such as options and shorts that have been really moving SoFi. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with SoFi, and hopefully everyone has a good week. I think with SoFi closing at $7, they deserve a drink tonight, whatever you guys drink, apple juice or something stronger than that, or whatever floats your boat. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.